I'm only doing the Hawkins, Jonathan. You guys have
But like hold the easy way to do it.
Alright guys, so I'm gonna see a special screening of Escape Room today, really early. This movie doesn't come out till January, and I'm gonna see it today. It's it's November 29th, so about a month and a few days early. So really early screening. So let's go in.
It's a 2, right?
Started working. They're built like the jungle be thrown out.
That's a tunnel.
Alright guys, so I did go to a screening for the brand new movie Escape Room, and this movie doesn't even come out till technically next year, in January 4th, 2019, and I did see this movie on November 29th, so I saw this movie about a month and a week early, and that's the only reason why I actually saw this movie at the screening, because it was that early. Honestly, I saw the trailer for this movie before Halloween, and I just did not care for this movie, but I knew I was going to see it either way, since I do seem to watch everything in theaters with, AMC A-list now. Since the screening was this early, I might as well just go and have a review early for you guys. So anyways, Escape Room, the story follows 6 strangers that are basically locked into a mysterious room with a series of traps which they just got to try to escape, and the very last person basically standing gets about $10,000, and basically the game that they're playing here is the game of life or death. So this movie actually, again, it doesn't come out till the first weekend of January, and it really reminded me a lot of another movie that came out this year and the first week of January, Insidious: The Last Key. And I know they're both very different movies, but really what they wanted to do, like, for example, I feel like both movies just did more than what they could actually do. That's something that this movie really reminded me of. It really reminded me of Insidious. Insidious was just a horror movie that was trying to be more than what it could actually have done with the story. And that's something that they do with this movie. They try to go for a bigger approach than what this movie could actually handle. Coincidence enough, this movie is actually directed by the same guy who directed Insidious: The Last Key. And I did not like the direction that he went for Insidious: The Last Key, but I just absolutely hated the approach that he went for this movie here. Look, I like the concept, but it would be hard to distinguish the concept for this movie from the concept from one of the Saw movies. I'd say that Jigsaw did a better version of Escape Room than Escape Room actually did. It's sad because, they're technically, the Saw movies, there's about 7 or 8 Saw movies, and they all do the same thing over and over again. But there's just something about the Saw movies, the good Saw movies. I'd say that Jigsaw was actually pretty okay. There's just something about those movies that it actually makes them feel like an actual movie. And this movie, honestly, I just don't know what's about this movie. This movie just has so many problems to begin with that it just makes it for a very unbearable movie watching experience. They just give us these bland and flat characters that I just honestly did not seem to care for one bit. And in these type of movies, in order for me to cheer for a character to survive, I must care for the characters. And this movie just did not make me care for a character at all, because of how undeveloped these characters actually are. The actors themselves were actually fine, but just that the writing for these characters was quite terrible. They're just very generic characters, very boring characters that are just there, like, oh, one of them is a corporate dude, oh, one of them is a student trying to get over her fear of something, oh, one of them is a nerd. They could have added more to these characters than just that, and I really found that really disappointing about this movie, because again, in this type of movie, you really do need to care for the characters, but I didn't see myself caring for a character in this movie at all. Also, this movie feels like it's going nowhere at times. And let me just say, with an ending like what this movie had, it just went nowhere, and it felt like the whole movie was just completely pointless. So it just made me care less for the movie, and it also made me hate the movie even more than I already did. Like, just being honest with you guys, this movie just has a very generic structure. I mean, there's a poor setup for each character, and then we have a scene with the characters getting to know each other, and then they go into the first trap, and then a character dies, and then they do another trap, and then another character dies, and then another trap, and then the big twist of the movie. That's just a hint of how lazy and how stupid the formula to this movie actually is, how generic it really is. And to begin with, this movie really is not intense at all. It actually could have done something clever to at least hook you in their situations of these characters. Like, one thing that I think that they could have done for a movie like this was actually make it look like the characters were actually struggling to survive out of these traps. Because I think that seeing them actually struggle could have actually made me at least feel worried for them, and it could have at least boosted some intensity to the movie itself. But really, it just felt like the filmmakers were lazy enough to figure out a way to make this movie intriguing that they didn't even try that much in the thriller aspect of this movie. I just didn't find any of the traps in this movie all that intriguing. Actually, I thought that all the traps in this movie were actually so bad. They were actually hilarious. Especially that the one with the bar where they're in that pool table and then it just like flips upside down and all of a sudden these characters are trying to survive in a room that's flipped upside. I don't know. Once you see the movie, if you do decide to see the movie, that scene is just so ridiculous. It's honestly hilarious how poorly that scene was done. And also the CGI here was unrendered. It felt like it was unfinished. It was just awful to watch. It was awful to bear with. And again, that ending is just the worst. Overall, Escape Room, honestly, Escape Room is so far the worst movie of 2019. Well, it's the only 2019 movie that I've seen, but I'm really sure that Escape Room is going to stay high up till possibly anything worse. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be worse than Escape Room. I know there should be something, but you never know. But Escape Room was just, it's a terrible movie. Don't go out and watch this movie. Honestly, just go watch something from that, some of the December leftovers, because December does have like 20 movies coming out. So skip this movie. Go see anything else that is getting good reviews. I mean, Spider-Verse is getting good reviews. I'm seeing that next week. I'm excited for that. But anyways, Escape Room, honestly, my rating system, this movie is complete bullshit. And with that being said, I'm going to give Escape Room an F. It's just Sony doing their usual thriller/horror movies that usually don't end up being good at all. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that this movie was actually that terrible. But anyways, yeah, Escape Room, did not see this movie. Honestly, I know there's going to be much better things out that weekend. But anyways, my next movie day, I am going to another advanced screening for the movie Bumblebee 2 weeks before it comes out. I'm very excited for that. So anyways, that's going to be my next movie day. And do you guys have intentions of seeing Escape Room? I hope not. I hope you guys don't see this movie, but if you do, let me know in the comment section down below. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.